I'm Alyson Morris, and I'm reading an extract from Simon's Body, my short story. Jo looked down at Simon's body, which lay naked and flayed against their bedroom rug. Kneeling, she ran her hands over his cold, coarse skin. It had always been coarse. That brownish hair, thick upon his arms and legs, felt rough in contrast to the fine shape of his torso. That body, she thought. Simon had a beautiful body, even in death. Jo had met Simon at a gym. Thinking that a fitness centre might help her meet ordinary men, she had savoured the time she spent running on the machine, looking out for a man who wasn't another lovey. Now, as the rain dripped loudly down the windowsill, making her aware of her own dry cheeks, Jo bent down and kissed him. She then attempted to rub off the lip gloss stain, leaving a heart-shaped smudge on his cheekbone. That gym was where it had all started, and now it was the end. Moving to the window and with toes sinking into the high weave of their cream rug, Jo contemplated removing the blood. Was it like wine? White wine's supposed to remove a red stain. Perhaps salt would be better, or maybe vinegar. The view from the back of the house was long, green and deep, a remote place they had both worked hard for. Simon even harder, she felt, especially during those months before buying the land. A lucky break, he had claimed, adding something about a property sale and some bonus money. A large sum came their way, and she had never asked questions despite a need to. The potent green landscape was a picture framed by a wooden shutter. It had been raining, as it so often did in Uist, and a yellow-pinkish glow made her feel the house lay at the end of a rainbow. And Jo often likened the rainbows that circled the valley to a parade of coloured hats at Ascot. She returned her gaze to Simon. His body was almost as white as the bedroom walls, and white being Simon's choice, not hers. She had wanted pillar box red like the one she'd pointed out in Country Home magazine. But there he lay, ochre naked. A statement for his lack of possessions. Simon the minimalist, Simon the white. And Jo laughed. Once she had wanted to fill the whole house with all her junk memorabilia from around the globe. But Simon had got his way, and that part of Jo went up into the attic. Simon's white walls were that blank canvas on which he had said they could make themselves more apparent, more aware of each other. Her 4-foot Betty Boop had annoyed him the most, and as she stared down at his blankness, his deadening skin, she wondered how Betty was feeling up there in the dark, wrapped in packing tape. Jo felt a bit like Betty Boop. Simon's body lay at the foot of the bed. There were no scattered clothes. The bed was made, the lamp was on, and Jo turned it off. She sat on the floor to his left, the blood-free side, and her eyes met his penis. It was hard. Strange, she thought, and wondered when the rest of his body would harden. Then Jo saw a ghostly mouth move over his body, down to his erection and cover it. It wasn't her mouth. She hadn't seen her sister Emily for over a year, but suspected Simon had. There was some suspicion recently, though, so Jo turned up at Emily's flat in Hampstead, expecting a showdown. Emily wasn't around that week. Running her fingers over Simon's pubic hair, Jo started pulling it. She yanked hard until she had a few strands in her fist. "And that's nothing compared to the stuff you ripped from me, Simon," she whispered in his ear. She thought about the cell they would put her in. It would be like their bedroom, unmarked, nothing on the walls, blank for the blank mind occupying it. and then the doorbell rang. It made her jump. There was a loud thrumming in her ears. She wasn't ready yet.